Hello everyone, welcome back to the Lord of the Rings Online. This is Gnarlo here. Say hello to everyone, Gnarlo. Good boy. When last we left off, we were here in front of Zudrugund at the top of Nar's Peak, all the way over here in the most easternmost part, Thror's Coombe. There are a couple of slightly more eastern, like if you go fully into the Serpent Halls, but it's about as east as we are likely to go while we're here in the Inidwaith. So we are all the way down here. We have, we're going to be trying to suss out what exactly was going on and how Nar knows so much about what was going on. So we are going to go deeper in here. I am going to pull up the current chapter we are on. Here in our deed list, our quest list, Chapter 8, Further Secrets, where we have to search bookshelves on the upper level of Zudrugund. 3 bookshelves. So let's see. Before the attack, if y'all remember in our last episode, we were defending Nar from attack. Before the attack, Nar became very excited, and no amount of calming words from Frithgare could settle him. He moved from shelf to shelf in a certain section of the library, and in his agitated state I could not even get his attention. I will point out to you the shelves. Perhaps this time you will find some relevant information that will help us get to the bottom of our mysterious dwarf. The shelves are on the upper level on the northern side of the library. So this is Volume 3, Book 3, Echoes of the Dead. So we need to get to the uppermost section of the library here, which I think the stairs are around this way, perhaps, and see if we can't find a set of bookcases on the northern part of the library that were interesting Nar so much. So we need to get up there. Where are the stairs that lead up there? Now, I thought there was a rather large set of stairs. There it goes. We just hadn't gone this far into it, had we? There we go. Now, let's continue on up, see what we can find. And the stairs, he says, are on the northern section of the library. And what a library this is. It just keeps winding and winding, does it not? Cannot believe the dwarves left all this behind. I mean, even not being an elf, even the hobbit in me sits and looks at all these books and all these records and going, how come these aren't in Thorin's Hall right now? How come the dwarves haven't come back for these things? Yep, there's one down there. Looks like we should have stopped on the second level. Here are some bookshelves. 3 untidy bookshelves that we've got to search through right now. Wonder if that means we will eventually end up there on the southern level looking through bookshelves, or the western level looking through bookshelves. This untidy bookshelf within Zudrugund is one of those in which Nar has taken a recent interest. You have found some pages which have been hastily torn from a larger volume, perhaps a diary or record of events, and seem to be only a few years old. Surprisingly cold for March. Our friend the ranger came by again today, and we spoke for a time about the situation in the north. His chief is on some errand to Mirkwood, but it seems to me that Turgon knows little of it as well. Nar has been in high spirits lately. I think he likes receiving visitors, though he does not always recognize them for who they are. Still, it seems to me he enjoys the company. He does spend a great deal of time in the mine. I only accompany him occasionally, but there are only so many times I can see Thror's stone house standing empty before the melancholy is too much. Nar sees it as it was, I think, so I am content to let him visit it by himself. These periods give me time to write in my book, which is fine by this dwarf. I think tomorrow I will walk down to the coombe and see about picking more of the herbs I've read about. Perhaps I will make that brew after all. It would be nice to have Nar to talk to again. All right. Sounds like this is perhaps Zidger? Is that his name? The dwarf who's been here with Gnar all this time? Sounds like that might have been part of his diary where he's talking about it. You found a stack of loose papers yellowed with age, which seemed to have been placed back under the shelf randomly, with no regard for keeping them in order. And in the last month a great number of supports have fallen, giving rise to much concern among the dwarves who have stalls in Zigil-Jabal. A dozen of our stonemasons were directed to repair the supports, and trade should resume shortly. With these stonemasons went several wagons of material, chiefly unearthed stone, but also a number of fine gems, a gift to the dwarves at Ketchel. We will see how hotly burned their forges, and if they can work the gemstones into their craft as well as we were able. Judging from the state of the next page, it is even older, and only a few words can still be read. Time we lost one of our own to the forbidden halls. They should seal it away and forget it was ever delved. Alright, so now we've got the third and final untidy bookshelf. Let's see what Gnar has been looking at. You found a book of which the cover is missing, as are many of the pages, but it has recently read and was clearly put back carelessly. But the beast returned that night, and the walls all around shook with the sound of its fury. The doors were barred, but the bars bent with such a mighty crash of the creature's bulk, and cracks began to appear among their links. "We must return its youngling," cried Sealer over the din, and he leapt forward, knocking aside the warriors that braced the door with their bodies. The first bar gone, and then the second. "No, Sealer," they shouted, but it was too late. The third bar fell to the floor, and Sealer threw open the door. Old Stonetooth was through the doorway in seconds. Sealer was trampled underfoot, along with many good dwarves that spoke against the capture of Pebblewort. It availed them nothing in the end. Stonetooth thundered down the length of the hall, braying for her young, and then an answering bleat. It drove her down side passages and steep stairways, the flagstones cracking beneath her great weight. The dwarves freed Pebblewort from his cage, and many of them ran. Those that witnessed the reunion of mother and child did not survive to tell of it. But the next day, when the dwarves ventured back to those broken halls, all was empty. Old Stonetooth and Pebblewort were never seen in those caves again, and none knew where they went. But it is still said today, when the earth shakes, that Pebblewort is running beneath the mountains, expressing joy at his freedom, carving great channels in the walls of the deepest caves with his golden horn. Indeed. Pebblewort, huh? Interesting. So let us go talk to Gnar. Find him back down below again. Wonder what kind of a creature old Stonetooth and Pebblewort was. I'm just wondering if perhaps, and this is just a perhaps, remember in Moria, well, I guess not. In Moria, there's a place where, the cave diggers, there's the cave claws. There's one of those in one of the libraries in Moria that is enormous. Absolutely enormous. It's like the size of the Goodyear blimp. So I wonder if that could be Pebblewort. He's over in a corner asleep. It would be interesting, wouldn't it? Let's see. Were you reading about Zigil-Jabal?
What's that? They have need of more stonemasons at Zigil-Jabal?
It seems every week they ask for more. Gnar shakes his head, and his face is suddenly mournful. There are few enough stonemasons here to repair our own hold. I cannot remember the last time I saw one. The last time... Gnar's brow furrows in thought, and he speaks no more. I'm sorry, Gnar. What can you tell me about Tugon?
Tugon? He is a ranger, you know. He comes to visit us from time to time.
Talks to Frithgeir, whom he talks, which is seldom. He does not eat with us, which I found curious. I have not seen him lately. Hervin, have you seen Tugon lately? Hervin? Gnar sighs and strokes his beard. Has Turvan met Turgon? I can't say I remember. I think he must have, but I cannot picture it. That is strange. Why do you ask about Tugon? Not many rangers in these lands. Is that so? ask about Old Stonetooth and Pebblewort.
What made you think I would be interested in myths and fairy stories?
What are you saying to me? I do not have time to listen to such legends, friends. There's work to be done. What made you think I would be interested in myths and fairy stories? But I thought... was that Tugon that did that? Who is Tugon? Chapter 8, Further Secrets.
Oh, that was quite a battle, was it not?
Ah, it has been a long time since Uruks dared to show their faces here. I must tell Thror when he comes back. Okay, so now it's talk to Coronir. Let Coronir know what we have found out about Nar's little visitors here. And who is Tugon? Further secrets.
I do not know what interest Nar could have in these topics.
A list of repairs at a dwarf hold in the White Mountains, a page from Frithgar's journal, and the story of some beast likely more tale than true. I can think of no common thread to tie these together, just as I could not the last time we tried to make sense of the dwarf's curious behavior. Return to Halberad and tell him that, for now, Zudrugund is safe from the Uruks. You should be able to find him among the huts on the western side of Lanuk. So talk to Halberad and Lanuk. That is exactly what we will do. Let us head on back down Thor's Peak, across the Coombe, and back over to Lanuk. And we will meet you when we get there, after we get our hobbit present and clean up our inventory a little bit and repair our armor. Then we'll talk to Halberad. Alright, we are back in Lanuk. We've gotten our personal business taken care of, so let us talk to Halberad now.
I have bad news. We have found Ergothorn. He is dead.
Oh my god. So, just what the heck were y'all doing while I was up there on Nar's Peak?
One of the scouts of the Occluth found Ergothorn's body this morning.
Chapter 9, Ergothorn's Last. One of the scouts of the Occluth found his body this morning, hidden behind a fall of rocks on the southern edge of the Coombe. I think he was ambushed from hiding, as Wadu was, though it is strange he was not slain by sword, arrow, or bolt. He was killed by hand, his life choked out of him. For now, his body is being kept in the Hall of Making to the northeast. You should examine Ergothorn's body to see if we can learn anything more of his fate. So examine Ergothorn's body for clues to his demise. We were just in the Hall of Making. We were up there selling back stuff just now. I don't remember having seen... any bodies lying about in here. Let's see. Let's see. This is the Hall of Making, right? Oh, there we go. Well, no wonder I didn't see it. It was laying over here in the corner, looking like someone was asleep, wasn't it? Wonder if it's always been in here. Okay, let's see. It is as Halberad described. The man is wearing armor of Gondor and has no sword wounds on his body, but he is dead. You notice a scrap of parchment clutched in one hand, which you pry loose and read. To the Rangers, the dwarf has already told your foe much, and I fear that it will be enough to endanger not just your errand, but the delicate situation in Dunland as well. Things are not as he thought they were, but they soon will be. He has been slowed by his uncertainty concerning the errand of your company, but not stopped. They who swore the oath to Isildur at Erech, you know of them and of their home beneath the Dwemerberg. But you do not know that some number of them sought to flee their curse, and came to hide in a place called the Forsaken Road, among the Lich Bluffs. If they could be made to fulfill their oath to your chieftain's forebear, all might not be lost. Not all remember the old ways, but I do. For Ithel that was lost, and for all else that was forgotten, I remain, Ergothorn. Bring the letter to Halbarad. So it looks like we do have a true son of Gondor here who remembered the old ways and who remembered to honor the king and that he might come back one day. All right, so let's head on out. And let's go back over here to Halbarad. Like, call yourself a ranger, but you weren't able to find a scrap of paper in the hand of a dead body. Like, just I feel kind of like Sherlock in the first episode of Sherlock now, where I'm sitting and going, you didn't notice the mud splatters all the way up the back of her stockings there, where she was obviously dragging a cart behind her. Oh, Lord.
He was unable to deliver that letter in life. He has done so in death.
He must have been coming to leave us that letter, Gnarlo. He was unable to deliver it in life, but he has done so in death. I know not who set upon him in the wilderness, far from safety, but I believe it is the foe of which he speaks, or an agent of that enemy. I believe now that Ergothorn's enemy is our enemy as well. But now at last it becomes clear. Whoever killed Ergothorn can move stealthily and strike without warning, but chooses to use neither sword nor bow. If this mysterious foe can move about without the knowledge of his prey, he may have overheard our conversations. If he, too, speaks with Gnar, that could be the source of the dwarf's information, but twisted into a form unbeknownst to Gnar himself. And it all comes back to the Oathbreakers. Is Ergothorn right? Could they be compelled to fulfill their oath? If we can learn that this is possible within the Forsaken Road, that will be a great boon for Aragorn. Speak to Radenir at our campsite in the grove of trees east of Lanok. Tell him that I want this investigated. All right, so now we are headed back to Radenir's camp, the Ekad Radenir, as it were. Let us ride down the hill and over to the west, or to the east rather, and we will find out what is going on here. Let us see if we can head on down the road, the Forsaken Road as it was, and see if these Oathbreakers can be made to fulfill their oath. There we go. It's not too far a ride to Radenir over here. Let's see.
Halbarad's wishes are my own as well.
Halbarad's wishes are my own as well. We will walk the Forsaken Road and see what lies within.
We must learn if Aragorn can compel the Oathbreakers to fulfill their oath.
If Ergothorn is right, a number of Oathbreakers fled from the Dwemerberg after Isildur cursed them, and left Gondor. They traveled through the trackless wilderness, seeking to escape the curse, and came at last to the Lich Bluffs. Did they find what they sought, or did they come to realize there was no escaping their curse? I do not know. But if we can find the Forsaken Road where this group finally remained, we may learn something to our advantage. We may learn if Aragorn can compel them to fulfill their oath. I have spoken with Rod, the scout who found Ergothorn's body. He knows where the entrance to the Forsaken Road is and will show us the way. Talk to me when you are ready, and I will assemble a group of rangers to investigate. So the quest was meant for a fellowship. If you choose to undertake it, you will receive an Inspired Greatness bonus. But the challenge will be great. So when we come back, we will accept this quest, Echoes of the Dead, Chapter 10. Oh, we are tearing on through the chapters. I imagine we've only got 2 or 3 more, because it seems like most of them end somewhere between 10 and 15 chapters here has been the way it's been going. So we should be finishing this chapter up pretty darn soon here. In the meantime, we're going to share a pipe with Radenir while night is beginning to turn into day, maybe? Or is it still night? Looks like it's still pretty night out here. What time is it? The late watches. So it's more about 3 o'clock in the morning, I suppose. Just about right for what time I'm recording it as well. Okay. So we will allow that to be this episode. We've gone about 17 minutes so far, 18 minutes. So next time when we come back, which should be late tonight or tomorrow, because I am actually going to go ahead and record the next episode and have it ready to go. I'm going to try to get 3 or 4 up on the next little span of time. I'm off the next 3 days, so I'm going to try to get 3 or 4 up during this time of both this and LOTRO. So next time we will travel down the Forsaken Road and see whether or not that we can make the Oathbreakers fulfill their oath. So thanks for coming along, and we will see you when we do that next time.